13 celebrities who were brutally murdered are the topic of today's video. Let's watch it all and pay tribute to the deceased. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to support us. Number 1. Sharon Tate, 1943 to 1969. Tate was born in Dallas, Texas in 1943. She began her career as a model and appeared in several television shows and movies in the early 1960s. She married director Roman Polanski in 1968 and was pregnant with their first child at the time of her death. Actress Sharon Tate was tragically murdered on August 9, 1969 by members of the notorious Charles Manson family. While she and 3 friends were sleeping, 4 members of his cult broke into Tate's home and stabbed her 16 times. At the time of her death, she was 8.5 months pregnant with director Roman Polanski's child. Number 2. Phil Hartman, 1948 to 1998. Hartman was born in Brentwood, Ontario, Canada, in 1948. He moved to the United States in 1975 and began his comedy career with the Los Angeles-based improv group. He moved to the United States in 1975 and began his comedy career with the Los Angeles-based improv comedy group The Groundlings. Former Saturday Night Live comedian and Jingle All the Way star Phil Hartman was murdered by his wife Bryn on May 28, 1998. After reportedly getting into a heated argument, she shot him 3 times in his sleep and later took her own life. It is also believed that drugs were a factor in the murder-suicide. 3. Christina Grimmie, 1994-2016. Grimmie was born in Marlton, New Jersey in 1994. She began her musical career at a young age, uploading cover songs to YouTube. Singer and former Voice contestant Christina Grimmie's life was cut short on January 10, 2016, after an obsessed fan named Kevin James Loibel murdered her. She was 22. As she signed autographs inside the Plaza Live in Orlando, Florida, he pulled out a gun and shot her 3 times, once in the head and twice in the chest. 4. John Lennon, 1940 to 1980. Lennon was born in Liverpool, England on October 9, 1940. He met Paul McCartney at a church fete in 1957, and they formed a skiffle group called the Quarrymen. The group later changed their name to the Beatles, and they became one of the most popular and influential bands in history. Beatles singer John Lennon was killed on December 8, 1980, in what is probably the most famous fan murder of all time. He was shot 4 times by a troubled man named John David Chapman outside his home in New York. Chapman later claimed his actions were inspired by the book The Catcher in the Rye. He was sentenced to life in prison. 5. Natalie Wood, 1938 to 1981. Wood was born in San Francisco, California in 1938. She began her acting career at a young age, appearing in films and television shows. Actress Natalie Wood's body was found in the Pacific Ocean on November 29, 1981, after a boat trip to Catalina Island on board her husband Robert Wagner's yacht. Though her cause of death was declared an accidental drowning, many suspect she was murdered because the autopsy report revealed she had bruises on her body and a cut on her left cheek. 6. Jam Master Jay, 1965 to 2002. Jason William Mizell was born on January 21, 1965, in Brooklyn, New York. He began his DJ career in the early 1980s and quickly became one of the most respected DJs in the hip-hop world. Legendary Run-D.M.C. DJ Jam Master Jay was murdered on October 30, 2002, after someone shot him in a recording studio in Jamaica, Queens. Though his murder remains unsolved, former NYPD detective Derrick Parker, also known as the hip-hop cop, says he knows who killed Jam Master Jay and that the case will be closed soon. 7. Marvin Gaye, 1939 to 1984. Gaye was born in Washington, D.C. in 1939. He began his career as a session musician for Motown Records in the early 1960s. Singer Marvin Gaye was killed by his father on April 1, 1984, after he tried to break up a fight between him and his mother. He was shot twice in their house in California and was pronounced dead on arrival at the California Hospital Medical Center. His father, Marvin Sr., received a 6-year suspended sentence and 5 years of probation. 8. John F. Kennedy, 1917 to 1963. Kennedy was born in Brookline, Massachusetts in 1970. He was the son of Joseph P. Kennedy, a wealthy businessman and politician. Kennedy graduated from Harvard University and served in the Navy during World War II. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963, while riding in a presidential convertible limousine through Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas. His murderer was a former U.S. Marine named Lee Harvey Oswald, who fatally shot JFK in the head and neck. He was rushed to the hospital and pronounced dead nearly 30 minutes after the shooting. 9. Dimebag Darrell, 1966 to 2004. Darrell Lance Abbott was born in Ennis, Texas on August 20, 1966. He began playing guitar at a young age and was influenced by guitarists such as Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads. Guitarist Dimebag Darrell was shot and killed on stage while performing with his band Damageplan on December 8, 2004 at a club in Columbus, Ohio. His murderer was a crazed fan named Nathan Gale, who blamed Darrell for breaking up his former band, Pantera. 3 others were also murdered in the shooting before Gale was killed by police. 10. Tupac Shakur, 1971 to 1976. Shakur was born in New York City in 1971. He began his musical career as a member of the hip-hop group Digital Underground in the early 1990s. Rapper Tupac Shakur was shot 4 times on September 7, 1996, while riding in his friend's car after leaving a Las Vegas boxing match. He died at a local hospital 6 days later at the age of 25. His killer still remains unknown, however. Many have theorized that Tupac's murder was the result of his East-West Coast feud with rapper Biggie Smalls. 11. Sam Cooke, 1931 to 1964. Cooke was born in Clarksdale, Mississippi in 1931. He began his career as a gospel singer with the Soul Stirrers, but he later transitioned to secular music. Singer Sam Cooke was shot and killed on December 11, 1964, by a hotel manager named Bertha Franklin. People ruled his death a justifiable homicide because Franklin claimed Cooke had threatened her life after attempting to rape a young woman who had accompanied him to the hotel. However, many still believe there was a conspiracy to murder Cooke. 12. Nicole Brown Simpson, 1959 to 1994. Actress Nicole Brown Simpson was killed on June 13, 1994, and her murder case is still referred to as the trial of the century. She and her friend Ron Goldman were both stabbed to death and found lying in a pool of their blood outside her home in Brentwood, California. Brown's husband, O.J. Simpson, was the primary suspect in the murder, but he was acquitted of all charges. 13. Adrienne Shelley, 1966 to 2006. Director Adrienne Shelley was found hanged to death in the shower of the studio apartment she used as an office on November 1, 2006. At first, it looked like she took her own life. However, police found a footprint beside where her body had been found. They later arrested a construction worker named Diego Pillco, who confessed to killing Shelley and staging the fake suicide.